Hello everyone, RJ Conti here, giving everybody a chance to check in who wants to. This may seem entirely random and sudden that I'm posting a video on manipulation, although those of you who maybe saw my assessment of Unplanned and how it really was a story of manipulative women brainwashing other women may sense that there's a theme here. But this topic has come up privately with so many friends and so many people that at this point I thought maybe it would be helpful to just go ahead and make a video on it and share it more widely, since I think all of us have at least one person in our life who is emotionally unstable, if not downright manipulative. And some of us know people with serious personality disorders who may be more than just manipulative, but may actually have serious issues that we have to deal with over and over and over again. So since this has come up privately with so many friends, and since I learned a lot of this fairly recently, I thought I would share this kind of once and for all with everyone. Not once and for all. I could talk about it privately still, but I thought I would put it out there for everyone. So the method that I learned... Okay, so starting over... A lot of the stuff that you find on YouTube and on blogs really treat the manipulator or the emotionally unstable person as if they're a big meanie who you have to attack back. The YouTube videos and the articles tend to be very ungracious towards the person themselves, and kind of can leave you, maybe as a Christian or as somebody who just loves this person in your life, as it can make you feel kind of squeamish and icky. Like I don't feel that much hatred. I don't feel that anger. I just want to handle them in a loving and gracious way, and yet remove myself from this sort of emotional abuse, or at least just have a better response to this person's kind of like button pushing that they do, because a lot of people know how to push our buttons and get what they want out of us, hence the habitual manipulation. And then there are people who are just struggling and they're having a really, really hard time and they're emotionally unstable, and it kind of comes out at you. And so for those of us who really do care about these people in our lives and we love them, and we're not looking to attack them or get back at them or ha 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 shut them down, like a lot of YouTube videos are labeled, how to defeat them at their own game. Like, I don't really like the attitude there. I'm just looking for a way to live in peace and unity with the people who are struggling in my life, whether they're struggling due to a stage or whether it's just a lifelong habit. And so this method that I got from the book Stop Walking on Eggshells about borderline personality disorder is just fantastic, I think, for all of life. And the beautiful thing is that the book assumes that you care and that you really want to live in a peaceful and loving way with these types of people. So I found it to be just amazing, and I can apply it across the board, including to my children, because children are little manipulators and they're very immature, and they use some of these manipulation tactics, or they're emotionally unstable a lot. And so I have found this just to be helpful and fantastic across the board. So it's really easy. It's a 3-part thing called mirror, truth, silence. So mirror, like looking at yourself in a mirror, truth, silence. So if you can remember that, then that's the method. And I'm not saying that it's a foolproof thing where the person won't ever attack you again, but it is a way to start laying boundaries and groundwork for not being somebody that they can play with or use as a punching bag. And for children, it teaches them how to think correctly. So mirror is important because your emotionally unstable person, unless they're just like a devious psychopath, in which case run, your emotionally unstable person truly does believe the emotions that they're feeling. They're not... Most of these people, 90% of these people, are not coming up with stuff out of the blue because they think it's amusing to make your head spin. Most of these people truly, truly believe that they're being hurt in some way, or that you're a big meanie in their life, or that you're out to get them, or somebody's out to get them. These people are really, really wounded. They're confused. They or depressed, unhappy, you're just happen to be in the way and you happen to be an easy target, or they happen to have a history of getting what they want out of you. But very, very, very few people are lying through their teeth and doing it for fun. Most of these people really feel what they're saying. So to tell an emotionally unstable person, you should not be feeling that. That feeling is wrong. That feeling should not be. That feeling is dumb. That feeling is stupid. That feeling doesn't make any sense, will absolutely take you nowhere. That is a horrible way to respond, because they're going to say, are you kidding me? But I do feel like this. Don't tell me how to feel. So instead, what you want to do is mirror what they're feeling. So if they say something that's off the wall, it can really, really prickle and hurt and feel very unjust and just very cruel. But what you have to do is weed through, what are they actually feeling here, and mirror back to them that you understand that that feeling is a terrible one, that what they're feeling is terrible and scary and sad, and that you understand that they are feeling that way. You're not saying that they should feel that way, but you understand that they are feeling that way. But then don't stop there, or they will feel affirmed and continue to feel that way. Follow it up with truth and give them what the truth is, so that they don't have to be unstable and irrational, so they aren't acting like a victim. Follow up with the truth. And then the last step of silence is very important, and that's just to go silent. In the communities of people with personality disorders, they call it the gray rock method, where you just kind of become a gray rock. You're boring to play with. You don't respond. You don't react. Because you've said it all. And we usually get in trouble with people like this when we start talking more and more and more. And then more and more words spill out, and soon we're trying to make them feel better, and soon we've got ourselves twisted up, and then we are vulnerable and have played right into what they were trying to do. So it's actually very, very quick, easy, and simple. So I came up with 3 different I actually Googled it, but then came up with 3 of the most common manipulative statements. So, for instance, these things could be happening with an emotionally abusive spouse, or just an unhealthy spouse. Maybe your spouse is just going through an unhealthy scenario, but this is an emotionally unstable person for some reason or another. It could definitely be going on with your children, because children are very manipulative and emotionally unstable, and it could be going on with a friend. So I'm going to pick those 3 examples. So let's pick the spouse first. So let's say the spouse says, "You love that person better than you do me. I can't trust you. You love them better. I don't know what you're doing. I can't trust you. You love them better. You don't want to be with me." Any of those are the most common, usually abusive spouse comments or manipulative comments. Now, obviously, check your heart, because sometimes emotionally unstable people actually have a nugget of truth there, and there are things that you're doing that are wrong. I'm not saying that you can just disguise any of your own weaknesses and failings in this relationship by, using this method. If you really are, not being faithful to your spouse, then check your heart there. So I wanted to make that caveat. But let's say this is somebody who's just paranoid and unstable and clingy, and it's really unhealthy. What you want to do is you want to mirror the fact that they are feeling insecure. Should they be feeling insecure about you? I hope not. If your heart is pure towards them, and it's just one of those types of people that is constantly doubting you and constantly afraid you're going to leave them, the typical kind of emotionally abusive spouse, then what you need to do is realize first that they are feeling that way, whether they should or not. And it's frustrating and irritating for somebody to feel a certain way about you that isn't true. But the fact is, they are feeling that way. So you could mirror it by saying, "That would be really scary if you felt like you couldn't trust me. That would make me really afraid to think I couldn't trust my spouse. That would be a really scary, unnerving, insecure feeling." So that's what you start with, right? So you're saying, like, I get that you are feeling scared, insecure, and unnerved right now. So you're mirroring back what they're feeling. But then you follow up with instant truth, which is, I love you. And I am committed to you, so you don't have to worry. Take those concerns to God, or whatever you want to follow up with, whatever you're assessing is actually going on in this relationship. And then be quiet. Don't feel like you've got to rationalize anything. "I'll show you my phone. I'll show you this." I mean, obviously, maybe you should have open passwords or whatever, but don't feel like you've got to rationalize or prove anything. Just mirror it and truth. So, I don't trust you. I think you love everybody else better than you do me. Like, that would be a horrible feeling. So this would be my response. That would be a horrible feeling, honey, for you to think that, or for someone to think that their spouse loves everybody more than them. That would be just heartbreaking. I would be really sad. The good thing is, though, is that I don't. I love you best. You can sit and have confidence in that. Love you, and move on. Now, the key, though, is not to be patronizing. You don't want to speak to another adult like they're a child. Now, that would be scary, honey, but the truth is, that's never going to go over well. You need to say it like you really mean it. Like, really feel like if you were in their shoes and your mind was not working correctly and you really thought everybody was out to get you and you were really victimizing yourself, it would be really scary. So even though what they're feeling feels nonsensical to you, mirror it and then give them follow-up with truth. And for a manipulative person who is used to pushing a button and getting you to go, oh no, honey, this is terrible, I love you, and playing into whatever their ego wants in that moment, your response is going to be quick, to the point, and will start training them that you're not a button that they can push. So let's take this whole method with children, let's say. So one of the most common manipulative comments from children, especially teenagers, is, I don't love, I hate you, you don't understand me, or you never understand me, right? You never get it, you never understand me. So with a teen, you can say, I think that, like, here's how I would respond. My teen goes, you never understand me. I would turn to them and I would say, in all seriousness, not patronizing, I think that being misunderstood truly is one of the worst feelings in the world. It is one of the worst feelings in the world. And to think that your own family member who loves you so much misunderstands you just stinks. Like, that's an awful feeling. But I can promise you that I remember what it's like to be your age, and I do understand more than you think, and I'd like to invite you to talk to me about it, and let's see if I can listen and we can work this out. Right? So you mirrored how they were feeling, but then you followed up with, I really do think I'm understanding, but I'm inviting you to give me a try, right? So that would be a fun one. And then the friend thing, I couldn't find any like top manipulative comments among friends, so I had to just like pull some from my own 33 years of history of being a friend. And one of the ones I could think of was, how can you still treat me like that after I did XYZ for you? Or how can you not put me first? Or how can you not do XYZ? Let's say they're asking you to do something unreasonable. Like, how can you not ditch your family and spend the afternoon with me after I've done this to you? I bought you that necklace. I did this for you, blah, 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 blah. This is a common spouse one too, but it's the whole, I've done this, so you should lay down your life for me at all times. Like, be a doormat, please, for my needs. So we're not talking about a really good friendship where somebody's saying like, I prayed for you last week. How come you said you wouldn't pray for me this week? We're talking about like a serious, like, I'm expecting to be your top priority. Excuse me. What are you doing? Why aren't you making me your king? Right? So let's say that happens. The mirror truth would be, this person is feeling that there is not an equal back and forth in the friendship. Instead, what they are doing is they're a leech, and they are leeching onto you, and they are expecting to rule your life, and it is actually an unhealthy parasitical relationship. But the fact is that they feel like they're not being loved, even though they are, and they can't see it, and they're always needy. They think they're not being loved, so you need to play back on that and be like, are you feeling not loved? Are you feeling unloved right now? That's a really horrible feeling. It's a really horrible feeling to feel unloved. But the truth is that your friends and I love you, and Christ loves you. And right now, I've got to go spend time with my family. We can talk later. And obviously, if you've got a friend doing this kind of stuff, do you need to evaluate whether or not you need to walk away there? But that would be another mirror truth. Let's figure out what's actually going on here, and let's point you towards the person who loves you, Christ, who clearly is not enough, which is why you're making me an idol in your life, and you're expecting me to be everything to you. So you've got this, again, very, very succinct, very scripted in your head. You are looking in empathy towards what they're feeling. You are mirroring it back to them, and then you are giving them the honest truth that can then comfort their heart. So that would be a good way to do that. So anyway, anyone have any questions? Any examples or any lines that people have told you that you would like some sort of mirror truth example given back? But hopefully that all makes sense. I'm finding that in the moment, in the beginning, like last year, in the moment was really hard to remember because you start to panic and you start to feel that's not fair and this is not right and how dare they, and then you feel scared like, oh boy, I better pacify them really, really quickly. And so at first when I started to practice this, it tended to be a retrospect thing, like, oh, I should have used mirror truth. And then I'd replay it later in my head, like, here's what I could have said that would have been better. And then it started to become something that I actually did say, and soon it's starting to become more of an actual habit, and it's going over really well. My kids feel understood and heard. Certain people with toxic behaviors, I don't like to call people toxic because people are not poisons. People are loved by God. But certain people with toxic behaviors, it was shut down and it was stopped. The abuse was stopped. And then other people really do feel heard, and it points them back towards, oh yeah, I'm being irrational. You're right. What am I doing? And it gets it off of you. And then I've even had one or two people do it back to me. And it is so valuable. I feel heard. I feel cared for. My mind is pointed in the right direction. I realize I'm being fearful or I'm being, selfish. And yet you feel heard and understood. And I feel like among people, being understood is a pretty valuable commodity. Like, being understood is one of the best things that we can receive from people, I think. Being loved is wonderful too, but being understood is pretty high up there on my book. So anyway, let me know. Obviously you can post in the comments any other questions or comments, maybe manipulative or illogical or irrational comments you've received, and maybe we can troubleshoot them together. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful.